Well, this surely is an interesting one, and one that fans of Star Wars probably won't like. Sure, there's a lot of people out there who don't like Star Wars anymore and probably agree with what is going to be said here, but regardless, I think a lot of people are going to be a little more upset than on board with this. So Matthew Vaughn of Kick-Ass fame and the Kingsman fame decided to give his thoughts on what's going on with Star Wars right now. He says, why are the characters from Star Wars so hallowed from that from 1977? You can't redo it for a new audience. Well, because it's a franchise that doesn't need to be rebooted. I know that's been something that I and a lot of people have been afraid of Disney doing ever since they acquired Lucasfilm and Star Wars back in 2012. Luckily, they immediately announced an episode 7, and then an 8, and a 9, and a Solo, and a Rogue One, and this and that. And honestly, it hasn't been a huge hit to this point under Disney. But here's the thing, that doesn't mean that they should reboot it. That doesn't mean that the stories that have come before aren't important. I get that franchises, like in the comic book genre, really can be rebooted from time to time. There's no reason why they can't reboot them from time to time because there's so many different iterations in comic books as well as, all forms of media. But when it comes to Star Wars is more than just the Skywalker saga. Star Wars is a huge expansive universe that you could go over here and tell any story you want while it still connects or is connected to the universe that was built over here in 1977. And that's where I think Matthew Vaughn doesn't quite understand what he's talking about here. Because let's face it, there's a large group of people who don't want to see the connection to the Skywalkers anymore. But that doesn't mean they have to reboot. There's a large section, including myself, that would love to see a continuation of the Skywalker saga and that lore. To me, Star Wars hinges on the Skywalkers. That doesn't mean it's only the Skywalkers, but it hinges on the Skywalker lore. Without the Skywalkers, you don't have Star Wars. And to me, that Skywalker saga from episodes 1 to 9 is about the Skywalkers. That's it. That's what it is. That doesn't mean you can't make other stories outside of that you want to tell. There's no reason to reboot. And I think that's what it comes down to is the only reason to truly reboot is if you want to reestablish and create a new universe. But you don't have to do that with Star Wars because it's so grand. It's so large. There's so much room that you can do almost anything you want to do. But right now, you have someone like Matthew Vaughn saying this. But what honestly could they do differently? Better special effects? I mean, that's pretty much it. Maybe some better acting or performances. Does that really matter in the grand scheme of things? Because if you think about it, those first 6 movies are beloved to some degree. And you take a look at 7, 8, 9, those they could reboot. Absolutely, they could reboot those. If only because they're so divisive and they've really harmed the franchise more than helped. But again, what is the reason for saying this? I think, the thing that's going on right now, because we got directors and writers right now going out and promoting movies since the actors are on strike, and they don't typically do this. They don't typically go out and promote movies like this. And I think that is what's kind of hurting the industry right now, because we're gonna start seeing a lot of directors come out and they're gonna be asked questions about other franchises and other movies, and they're gonna talk about things that they shouldn't be talking about or shouldn't even mention. It's okay to think this from time to time and even maybe say it a little bit, but when you get down to it, there's no reason to reboot Star Wars or to reboot the original cast or the original films. It's a dumb idea. I think that's all I'm going to say about it. I just don't understand it. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. With all that said, I'll talk to all of you later.